Hi, this is Eliza Inkberry with Darkside University's Gothic Gardening class. This is the third part of week 3, which I had a little trouble with, and now I'm getting around to uploading it a bit late. But this is the garden design principle of variety, and a lot of times it's referred to as simplicity and variety. And as you can see here, it's basically when you add something into an area that has repetition to keep it from being monotonous. So you might have a lot of sweeping plantings that look good in big groups, but you don't want that to be the only thing there because then people's eye will just pass right over it because there's no focal point, there's no contrast. And so for an example with this little drawing, you have a very simple line of hedges, or shrubs in a hedge, and that would be your simplicity, and then the tree standing up adds variety to that. And here you have a lot of sweeping plantings with a few single specimens here and there that are going to stand out and add some variety. And if you go to this website, you can see the address up here, but it's got some more pictures down below that you can compare and kind of get a better sense of that. So some people's idea of variety might not be a specimen of plant, it might be some sort of yard ornament. This is a lot of different kinds of yard ornaments, and once you add this many of them, you're kind of getting to the point where you do have variety, but you don't have a whole lot of simplicity, although this does kind of work in a way because of the espaliered living fence behind it that becomes the simplicity that draws everything together. So if you have a simple element, then that can make even a lot of variety work. Here's a polar opposite to the last photo. Everything is very simple, a lot of sweeping plantings, even the specimens like trees are similar in form to the other trees, but then you have one single garden ornament of a water feature that becomes the variety and becomes the focal point and the contrast. And so here you have a lot of rounded shapes. Even the rocks could kind of count as a rounded shape here. And so that becomes the simplicity, all different types of rounded pruned shrubs. But then you've got these weeping specimens in the background, and those add some variety. And here you have a lot of low-level plants, and you have some bigger groupings of plants, but then you have this one section of a spiky plant that might be a flag iris, I'm not sure. And so you have that standing up as the contrast or the variety. And again, you also have these sweeping groups of rock, but then you have one lone rock here, and like you have this big pile here, but you have one sitting here, and so on. And so you can do that with your hardscaping as well as your plantings. This one is pretty easy to find the element that stands out as variety. You have a lot of woody plants that are about the same height, and then you have this really brightly painted bridge. Definitely it's simple with some variety. And here you have something that will definitely stand out in the landscape. So you have just kind of this lawn area, but you could put something like this in a garden bed that had kind of low-level plants that were all the same colors flowering, or even just big groups of different types of plants, and then these would stand out as variety in height and in form. And here you have something where the simplicity is the container itself. So maybe you only have a balcony or a deck or just a little area next to your front door. You might be in an apartment and you don't have a lot of options. So you could have something like this that offers simplicity in the form of it, but then everything in there has a lot of variety because you're using different plants. Although they did some repetition of the one color, and then the other plants are different. So you have some kind of unity with that and simplicity, but also variety. And here's a different color planter that you could use. And then the same thing here where the planters are different shapes, but they all have a simplicity in that they're using the same materials, but then all of the different plantings in them are a wide variety of different plants. So it's a pretty simple, simplicity and variety is kind of simple to understand, so I don't think I need a really long lesson on this one. But if you have any questions about it, be sure to ask in the forums, and I'll be posting another video soon.